The chairman of the Forum of New Nigeria People's Party, State Chairman, Dr. Tosin Odeyemi, has urged Nigerians to set aside sentiments and ensure that only a capable individual is elected president in the next elections. Odeyemi, who also serves as the Osun State Chairman of NNPP, has said that the two major political parties in the country, People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress, have governed but failed to deliver. He called on Nigerians to consider an alternative party with a competent candidate who can effectively manage the country's affairs, noting that the NNPP and former Kano State Governor, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, have the qualities needed in the next leader. In a statement he personally signed and obtained in Osogbo, Odeyemi said that the 2027 presidential election is still distant, but people are already looking forward to it. We need a man of honor who will make promises and keep them to lead our dear country. Sir, do you think Kwankwaso is the shining light? Do you think NNPP is the model party to take Nigeria to the promised land?
Well, now it's beyond party affairs. What we need in Nigeria is a political messiah.
Wow.
We need someone that will bring us out of the woods. Because the same cries were made before the last election.
Okay.
The same agitations were made before the last election. A lot of people clamored for a change of government. They said, oh, we've suffered for the past 8 years. We needed to get it right. And at the end of the day, what do we have? We are going back to the drawing board. Unless we come together as a nation to address certain things that have been lingering over the years. Like the talk about the constitutional amendment.
Exactly.
Amendment of the Constitution. If we don't carry out certain very important things, you will find out that the problem of leadership in Nigeria will continue. If Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is now saying that Mr. A or leader B or party C is more competent to produce a leader, what about the people we had in the past?
Okay.
It was the same story.
Same narrative, yeah.
So there has to be an avenue for people to come together and agree. If we want the country to have single presidential tenure of 5 years or 4 years, where every party will submit their manifesto, and then we also have a law that will state that for every government that will come, rule, and leave the office, whatever projects that are left uncompleted, whatever they have as their program will be sustained, will be consolidated upon, will be carried along, and failure to do that will attract certain penalties. We will still be going back and forth. Reason being that projects that Party A, which is counted to be better than Party B, started in the past. As soon as a new government comes into power, they abandon it. We'll hear about rehabilitation. We'll hear about rebranding of the same projects that cost billions of naira. And we'll also hear about borrowing. They keep going to borrow to start new projects that are never completed. So Nigeria will now become filled with uncompleted and abandoned projects. God forbid, that's not my prayer as a citizen of this country, for my nation. What I'm saying in essence is that for the party to desire to produce a credible candidate that can perform better than the others, they all need to come together, because we know what happens in the political climate. Once they start these elections and there is a build-up and the odds favor a particular party, you will see mass defection. People who made other parties redundant and moribund will pause let me use the telecommunication language. They
Yeah.
will port from one network to another network.
Exactly.
The same thing they were able to achieve or constitute in their former party, they will bring that idea. This is how we used to do it back then. Method is the method. They will bring in that same method, and the party will still have the same issues of not being able to perform. So now I don't think it's all about party. I talked about something. I said, if we have agreed to function as a nation, why not we sit on a round table? It may not necessarily be that they have to convene a national conference, because it will take a lot of resources.
Yeah.
It will take a lot of time.
Exactly.
It will keep governance at a standstill,
Yeah.
and then all of that. It will run into months, and then before they come, the conference will now put up their reports, and then the reports will be reviewed and adopted, and all of that. It will take a lot of time, and we don't have that time in Nigeria. What I think we should do, we have policy-making bodies. We have the House of Rep.
Yeah.
We have the Senate, the upper and the lower chambers, and we have sound minds. We have articulate young men and women. We have vibrant leaders, and they all have the interests of this nation at heart. Nobody wants to come and sink a ship that he also is a passenger in it.
Yeah.
So if they come together and listen to the people in their constituencies, listen to the grassroots, listen to you and I, the common man, those of us that don't have any power to legislate or to decide what happens, and take all these ideas back to their Senate, deliberate on it, adopt the ones that will make us move forward, and agree on it, and then they also restructure the political system, and then once they agree on this, and then we'll come back. You will find out that those who have nothing to offer will not be anywhere close to the corridors of power.
In the Nigerian context, in the Nigerian context of politics and political parties, that is, I think that is very far-fetched what you're saying.
Yeah,
because
but that's
most political parties here are very, they are well contained within themselves. They are introspective. They don't want to share ideas.
Ideas, exactly.
And there are no ideologies.
You know, it brings me to the case, and this happens even in our civil service. If you go to a civil service, a man that is holding a high office in the public service, as soon as he's being transferred or he's retiring, he will carry even his flimsy file where he has sensitive materials.
Yes.
So some of the ideas that he was using to run the office, he will go with it. Yes. Some of them will destroy certain documents so that the person coming to take over from them will not have access to those things. And this is wrong. So it plays out in our political system, in our democracy. That's why we're suffering. There are certain privileged information. There are certain ideas that should have been, the leader should have been running along with.
So NNPP, is NNPP the thing? Is NNPP the party?
It will be too premature for us to begin to say the Labour Party, the APC, the PDP, or the NNPP. For now, we need people of proven integrity. We need people who will not rest on their oars. We need people who will not only swear by their honor. People that will say A, and it will be A. We need people that will come into public office and know that it's not about what you surround yourself with or the number of aids or comfort you have that makes you a politician. But it is what you are able to deliver to your people. It is about the service, the quality of service that you are able to render. I, for instance, I'm a project manager.
Okay.
And by the special grace of God, I follow the principles of total quality. And if you look at that, you find out that the entire country, in terms of leadership, have failed in that area. If you talk about the quality of leadership that we are getting, it's just by the grace of God that some of us have survived in this country as businessmen. Because it's more like anything goes in this country. If you know that in total quality management, that quality should also be encouraged from start to finish, you will not think about saving the best for last.
Okay.
You will understand that you may not be there at last to give your best. So what do? You give your best at first and always. So I pray that we have leaders that will have this mentality of, I owe this to my country. I owe this to my people to deliver good governance, to deliver quality representation, to deliver leadership that is unparalleled. So that at the end of the day, when I'm not in office anymore, I will be remembered by this. A lot of people have things that they are being remembered for.
Yes.
Some leave sour taste in the mouth. Some persons who happen to be leaders, I'm sorry to say this with all humility to God, when they die and exit this world, people start to rejoice. That, oh, thank God, this person is dead. It was the one that refused to build this dam, this airport, this project. He was the one who refused to do this road. And these are not good things for us as humans and for our children and for our generation. Because if you are given the privilege, imagine the number of people, we have almost 200 million people, and a few persons have the privilege of being leaders. For God's sake, it's an honor.
Yes.
That's why they say power comes from God.
Yes.
And that statement is real.
Very.
Because you don't, even when you were born, you know nothing. You are not even there. You don't even know what's happening. But people are celebrating. And at the end of the day, in your lifetime, you have a privilege of being a leader. And you cannot do a good job at that. Come on, such people, they don't deserve a place in the history books of the country. Because how would you be in a country that people's commonwealth have been entrusted into your care, and you are happy sitting on millions? You are happy with affluence, and people are dying, they can barely feed. The roads leading to communities where these food materials are being transported into our rural areas and other urban places are inaccessible. And then we sit and begin to talk about who comes to rule, who comes to power. Is it about who comes to lead, or the dividends, the deliverables, the quality of leadership that the people should get? I think we have to, as a matter of fact, have a reform of our political system. Even, I'm sorry to say this, I will not say this on TV.
Okay.
Because there has been comparison
Okay.
between the different types of governments.
Yes.
And they are saying this type of government is better, this type of government is better. But let's forget about it. I don't want to say that here now.
Oh,
we're in democracy, we're enjoying democracy.
Yeah.
And we thank God that God has kept Nigeria as a democratic nation for this number of years. And we're not praying for any kind of anarchy. We're just hoping that they will get it right in our time.
All right.